It was a quiet night in the small town. The streets were empty and the sky was dark, covered with heavy clouds. The wind moved slowly, touching the trees, making them whisper in the silence. John sat alone in his small house at the edge of the town. He lived there by himself, far from the busy city, because he liked peace. His only company was the old clock on the wall, ticking again and again. John was tired after a long day of work. He had just made a cup of tea and was about to sit down with his book when suddenly, knock, knock. He froze. It was almost midnight. Who could be at his door at such a strange hour? He listened carefully, thinking maybe it was the wind, but the knocking came again, louder this time. Knock, knock, knock. His heart beat faster. He rarely had visitors, and at this time of night, it could only mean trouble. For a moment, he thought about ignoring it, but something deep inside told him to check. Slowly, he stood up, every step echoing in the quiet house. He reached the door and pressed his ear against it. He heard nothing but the soft rustle of wind. Carefully, he opened the door just a little, and what he saw made his blood run cold. There was a figure standing in the sick. There was a figure standing in the rain. Not fully human, not fully something else. A woman, or what looked like a woman. Her skin was pale, almost silver under the moonlight. Her large eyes glowed faintly, like two dim lamps in the night. She was breathing hard, her body shaking. In her arms, she held something wrapped in a thin cloth. John's mouth went dry. His mind screamed to close the door, to lock it, to pretend nothing had happened. But before he could move, the strange woman stumbled forward. "Please," she whispered in a weak, broken voice. Her English was strange, heavy, as if she had learned it only yesterday. "Please, help." John didn't move. He stood frozen, staring at her. Water dripped from her hair and face. Her clothes were torn, dirty, and stained with something darker than mud. Her arms shook as she held out the bundle she carried. The cloth shifted, and John's eyes widened. It was a baby with skin glowing faintly blue, like soft light underwater. Its tiny eyes opened, and for a brief second, John saw stars in them, small galaxies spinning inside. The baby let out a weak cry, but it was not like any cry John had ever heard. The sound was sharp, echoing, almost shaking the air around them. John stumbled back in fear. What are you?" he whispered. The woman fell to her knees. Her strength was gone. Her arms pushed the baby toward John as if begging him to take it. "Safe. Keep him safe," she begged, her voice trembling. Her body shook with hunger and weakness. "They will come. Please." John looked down at the baby, his hands shaking. He had no children, no family, no one to care for. And now, in the middle of the night, some strange woman, some strange being was asking him to take a glowing baby. It made no sense. His brain screamed no, but his heart saw something else. The baby was helpless. The mother was dying. If he closed the door now, both would be lost. The baby let out another cry, louder this time. The air in the house trembled. The light bulb above John's head flickered. For the first time, John felt something more than fear. He felt responsibility. "Please," the mother whispered again. Her body leaned forward, and with her last strength, she placed the baby in John's arms. He felt its warmth, strange but soft, like holding a small sun wrapped in cloth. John looked down at the child, then back at the mother. But she was no longer standing. She collapsed to the ground, her chest rising and falling slowly, weaker and weaker. "Wait, don't die," John shouted, crouching down beside her. But her eyes were closing, her lips pale. She reached out one hand, touched his arm, and whispered, "Promise, protect him." Her hand fell. Her body went still. John's breath caught in his throat. His whole world had changed in one single moment. He was standing in the middle of his small house, holding a glowing alien baby, while the child's mother lay silent at his feet. The baby opened its strange, star-like eyes and looked directly into John's. It gave a soft, almost human sigh, then closed its eyes again, resting peacefully in his arms. John swallowed hard, his mind racing. What have I done? What is this? Why me? He wanted answers. He wanted to wake up and find this was only a bad dream, but deep inside, he knew it was real. Very real. And then, just as he tried to calm himself, the baby's body glowed brighter for a second. The lights in his house flickered, then went out. The entire house fell into darkness. John stood there, his heart pounding, the baby glowing faintly in his arms, and the mother lying motionless on the floor. The night was silent again, too silent, but John felt that this was only the beginning. John stood in the darkness of his small house, holding the strange glowing baby in his arms. The alien mother lay on the floor, her chest barely moving. Outside, the night was silent. But John's mind screamed with noise. His hands shook as he looked at the baby. The child's skin shimmered faintly, glowing like fireflies trapped under thin skin. Each tiny breath the baby took made the glow rise and fall, as if a soft heartbeat of light pulsed inside. John whispered to himself, "What? What do I do?" Now, he had never asked to be part of something like this. He was just an ordinary man, living a quiet life. He worked, he read, he cooked, and he slept. Nothing strange ever touched him. And now, here he was, standing over an alien woman with a baby that hummed like a star. The alien mother let out a weak groan. Her eyes opened, glowing faintly like two silver coins in the dark. She struggled to lift her head, her voice shaking with pain. "Promise me," she whispered. "You protect him." John knelt beside her, still clutching the baby. "I don't understand. Protect him from what? Who are you? What is happening?" Her breathing was shallow, her words broken. "Hunters. They will come. They know he lives. Hunters." John's voice cracked. "Who? Humans? Or others?" Her lips trembled. She reached weakly for the baby, touching his small, glowing face. "Not human, not safe. No one's safe. Only you." John's mind raced. Why him? He was no soldier, no hero. Just a man who lived alone with his tea and books. He wanted to scream at her, to say she was wrong. But when the baby turned, its glowing eyes toward him, something inside him softened. The child looked helpless, fragile, and yet there was power in those eyes. John could feel it, like a storm waiting inside a small shell. The mother coughed, her body shaking. "Please, food, warmth. He needs." John's chest tightened. He looked at his old wooden kitchen table, the shelves with canned food, the blanket on his couch. Simple things, human things. Could they keep this alien child alive? As if hearing his thoughts, the baby began to cry. The sound was not like before, was louder, sharper. The air trembled. The glass on the windows buzzed. John nearly dropped. His arms trembling. She, "Quiet, please," John whispered desperately, bouncing the baby. But the crying grew stranger, echoing like a storm trapped in a cave. The lights flickered again, though they were already half dead. The alien mother reached out weakly, her hand brushing John's sleeve. Dangerous. If not calm, you must learn. John stared at her. Learn? Learn what? How to care for a baby from the stars. He wanted to argue, but suddenly the crying stopped. The baby looked into his eyes again, and for one strange, terrifying moment, John felt something inside his head. A flash. A memory that wasn't his. A burning sky. Ships tearing through the clouds. Soldiers marching with strange weapons. Screams. A mother running through smoke, clutching her baby, and then dashed darkness. John gasped, nearly dropping the child. The vision was gone, but the feeling of it stayed, burning deep in his chest. The mother whispered, "He showed you. Now you know. No safe place." John held the baby tighter, his breath shaking. He understood now. They were running. They had escaped something horrible, and somehow they had ended up on his doorstep. His mind spun with choices. He could call the police, but what would they do? They might take the child away, lock it in some lab, cut it open to see how it worked. He could leave the child outside, pretend none of this had ever happened. But his heart refused that thought. It already held the baby, already felt its weight, its warmth. That choice was gone forever. Or he could keep them here, hide them, protect them, even if it cost him everything. The mother's voice broke. Through his thoughts again. Promise, John. He froze. How did she know his name? He had never told her. His mouth went dry. How do you? Her eyes dimmed. We see. More than you, please. Her hand dropped, lifeless again. John sat in silence, holding the child. His head throbbed with questions. Fear chewed at his stomach. But something deep inside him, something older than fear, spoke louder. This baby needed him. John stood slowly, walking toward the couch. He laid the baby down on a pillow, wrapping him in a thick blanket. The glow softened, the child breathing calmly now, like a small star going to sleep. John stared at the baby for a long time. Then he whispered, "All right. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I'll keep you safe." At that moment, a strange noise drifted through the night. A soft crunch. Footsteps. John's head snapped toward the window. His heart pounded. Someone or something was outside, watching. The baby stirred. Glowing faintly again. John reached for the light switch, forgetting the power was gone. His hand froze halfway. The night outside seemed too quiet. Too still. Then, in the darkness beyond the glass, a shadow moved. The night outside John's house was silent, yet John knew he was not alone. He had seen the shadow move across the window, quick but clear. His heart thumped in his chest as he held the curtain edge, not daring to breathe. The alien baby lay on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, glowing faintly like a lamp underwater. Each rise and fall of its chest sent soft waves of light across the room. The glow calmed John a little, but it also reminded him of the danger. Anyone outside could see this strange light. Anyone could know. He moved closer to the window and peered into the dark. At first, he saw nothing but trees swaying with the wind. But then there it was again. A shadow, long and silent, moving just beyond his fence. John stepped back, his palms sweating. Who was it? A neighbor? An animal? Or something worse? Behind him, the alien mother let out a faint groan. Her eyes opened halfway, dim silver. "They are near," she whispered weakly. John spun toward her. "Who?" "The hunters you spoke about." Her head moved slowly, like a weak nod. "They search. They feel his light." She glanced toward the baby. John looked at the child. His glow was soft, but maybe soft was still enough. Fear prickled through him. He wanted to shout at the baby to turn it off, to hide the light, but the child was innocent, helpless. As if sensing John's fear, the baby suddenly stirred. His tiny arms pushed against the blanket, and the glow brightened. "No, no, no," John whispered, rushing toward him. "Stay calm, little one." He gently lifted the baby, rocking him, but the glow kept growing, stronger, spreading across the walls of the room. The alien mother tried to raise her hand, but her strength failed. Her voice trembled. "He cannot control. He is too young. You must keep him calm." The baby's eyes opened, glowing brighter than ever. And then it happened. Objects around the room began to move. At first, it was small things. A spoon rattled on the table, the curtain strings lifted. But then the books on John's shelf shook, rising into the air one by one. The lamp slid across the floor, even though it was unplugged. The baby's cry filled the air, sharp and echoing. And the whole house trembled with the sound. John's eyes widened in terror. He had never seen anything like this. The baby's tiny fists clenched, and suddenly a glass cup burst into pieces on the counter. "Stop!" John cried, though he knew the child could not understand him. He rocked the baby harder, whispering, "It's okay. It's okay. Please calm down." The glow began to pulse in waves, stronger each time. John felt the hair on his arms rise, like static electricity. His heart raced as more objects floated: chairs, books, even the old clock from the wall. And then, just as John thought the house might explode, the baby looked up into his eyes. For one brief moment, everything froze. The floating objects hung in the air, unmoving. Time itself felt heavy. Locked John felt it again, the strange flash inside his head. But this time it was different. He saw not war, not soldiers, but stars. Endless stars stretching into black space. A soft voice that wasn't his whispered inside his mind, "Safe, safe with you." The vision vanished. The glow faded. The objects crashed down, shaking the floor. The baby sighed softly, closing his eyes. Again, as if falling into deep sleep, John stood in the middle of the mess, his arms trembling as he held the child. His breath came in sharp gasps. "What are you?" he whispered to the baby. But there was no answer, only the faint hum of power fading from the room. The alien mother's weak voice broke the silence. "He showed you what he feels. He trusts you." John turned toward her, stunned. "He put something in my head, showed me things." "That's impossible." She closed her eyes halfway. "Not impossible. His kind. They do not speak with words, they speak with light, with mind." John's skin crawled. The thought that the baby could reach into his head, show him visions, share feelings, sight, was terrifying and yet strangely gentle. Before John could reply, a sound came from outside. Crunch, crunch. Footsteps, this time closer. John rushed to the window again. His breath caught. A dark shape stood near the edge of his yard, tall and still. He could not see a face, only the outline of someone watching. "Who is it?" John whispered. The alien mother's eyes glowed faintly. "Hunters." John's blood turned cold. "Already." She nodded weakly. "They follow his light. They will not stop." John's heart pounded. He looked at the baby sleeping in his arms, the small face peaceful now, the glow dim again. Then he looked at the window, at the silent figure outside. He was trapped. If he stayed, they would come in. If he left, they might see him. The baby stirred slightly, letting out a small hum. The air vibrated softly, like a warning. John whispered to himself, "I have to choose. Hide or run." Outside, the shadows stepped closer. The night stretched, long and heavy. John had not slept. He sat near the couch where the alien baby lay, wrapped in blankets, glowing faintly like an ember hidden under ash. The alien mother lay weak on the floor, breathing shallow but alive. Outside, the world seemed too quiet, too watchful. Every crunch of the wind against the trees made John's chest tighten. He knew what he had seen, the shadow in his yard. Someone had been out there. Maybe still was. He tried to convince himself it was nothing. A neighbor, a lost dog. But deep down, he knew better. The mother's broken voice echoed in his head. Hunter's John rubbed his tired eyes, whispering to himself, "What do I do? What do I do?" And then it came. Bang, bang, bang. A knock at the door, not gentle, not polite. A heavy pounding, as if someone wanted to break the door down. John jumped to his feet, his heart slamming against his ribs. The baby stirred, glowing, brighter for a second. John quickly held him close, whispering, stay quiet." The knocking came again, louder. Bang, bang, "Mr. Carter." A deep voice called. John froze. They knew his name. "We need to ask you a few questions." "Please open the door." John's throat went dry. He moved silently toward the window, pulling the curtain just a little. Two men stood on his porch. Both wore black coats. Their faces were hidden in the dark, but one of them had a strange device in his hand, glowing faintly, scanning the air. The other's eyes moved slowly, searching every corner of the yard. John stepped back, his breath trembling. They didn't look like police. They didn't look like neighbors. They looked like hunters. The mother, weak but awake, whispered from the floor, "Do not let them in. Promise me." John pressed a finger to his lips, signaling her to be quiet. He tried to steady his breathing. Again, the voice came, firmer this time. "Mr. Carter, we know you are home. We only need a moment of your time. There have been strange reports in this area. We need to make sure everything is safe." John's stomach dropped. Reports, they were searching for them. The baby whimpered, a small glowing tear sliding down its cheek. John quickly rocked him, whispering, "Please, please, not now." The glow spread across the room, faint but noticeable. If the men looked through the window, they would see it. John moved quickly. He grabbed an old blanket from the chair and threw it over the baby, muting the glow. His hands shook so badly he almost dropped him. From the porch came another knock, slower, this time, but sharper. "Open the door, Mr. Carter, or we will." John's mind raced. If he opened the door, they might see the mother, the baby, everything. If he didn't, they might break it down anyway. He thought fast, set the baby back on the couch, covered, and stepped toward the door. He cracked it open just a little. The two men stood there, rain dripping from their coats. One was tall, with sharp eyes that didn't blink. The other was shorter but held the strange, glowing device, scanning left and right. "Good evening," the tall one said smoothly, though his smile did not reach his eyes. "Sorry to bother you at this hour. We've had reports of unusual activity nearby, power surges, strange lights in the sky, loud sounds. You haven't noticed anything, have you?" John forced a small, tired smile. "Strange lights? No, just me and my tea. Nothing unusual here." The shorter man's device beeped softly. His eyes narrowed. "Are you sure? Our scanner shows something." His gaze drifted past John, toward the faint light leaking under the blanket. John's heart hammered. "It's just my lamp. Old wiring, flickers all the time." He tried to laugh, but it came out thin and broken. The tall man leaned closer, his eyes sharp. "Mind if we come in? Just to check." John's stomach twisted. If they stepped inside, they would see everything. The glowing baby. The mother on the floor? "No," John said firmly, surprising even himself. "It's late. I don't know who you are. I don't let strangers in my house." The air grew heavier. The tall man's smile vanished. He placed his hand on the doorframe. Leaning forward, "Mr. Carter, we insist." John's fingers tightened on the door. His voice shook, but he tried to sound strong. "Get off my porch." For a moment, silence. Only the sound of rain. Then, the shorter man's scanner beeped. Louder. His eyes widened, locking onto the faint glow under the blanket. "There," he hissed. Inside? The tall man reached into his coat. John's chest exploded with panic. He slammed the door shut with all his strength and shoved the lock in place. Bang! A fist struck the wood. "They know." The mother cried weakly. The baby began to cry, glowing brighter again, making the whole room flicker with strange light. John held him tight, whispering desperately, "Quiet. Please. Quiet. Quiet." Outside, heavy boots thudded against the porch. Voices shouted, "Open it. Break it down if you have to." John's world spun. He had seconds to act. He looked at the baby, at the mother. At the back door, there was no more time for thinking, only running. The pounding on the door shook the whole house. Bang, bang. The hunters were not asking any more. They were demanding. John's chest thumped hard, his breath coming quick and shallow. He held the glowing baby close, the child's cry vibrating through the air like a trembling string. The alien mother lay weak on the floor, her voice faint but urgent. "Run," she whispered. "Now they will not stop." John looked at her pale silver face, then at the door rattling on its hinges. He had seconds. Maybe less. The baby's glow brightened, spilling strange light across the room. The hunters outside must have seen it. Through the cracks, their voices grew sharper. There, inside. "Break it down." John's heart screamed to flee, but his mind scrambled for time. He dashed to the back of the house, baby in his arms, and whispered, "Stay quiet, little one. Please, just this once." But the baby whimpered louder, the glow pulsing with each sound. The old walls shivered, the light bulb above him flickering even though the power was gone. At the front door, the wood cracked. Splinters fell to the floor. John's eyes darted around, desperate. He couldn't fight them. He couldn't explain. And he couldn't let them take the baby. His hand landed on an old broom by the back door. Useless. He dropped it. His other hand found his grandfather's rusted shotgun on the wall. Heavy, unloaded, a decoration more than a weapon. But maybe fear alone could buy time. He grabbed it and held it tight. Crash! The front door burst open. Wood splintered across the floor as the hunters stormed in. The tall one stepped first, eyes cold, coat dripping rain. Behind him, the shorter man held his glowing scanner, which screamed louder now, its light pointing directly at the baby in John's arms. There, the short one shouted, "The signal is strong." "That's it, the child." The baby cried louder, the glow flooding the room. Books shook on the shelves. Glass rattled in their frames. John raised the shotgun, his voice shaking but fierce. "Stay back." The tall man didn't even flinch. "You don't understand what you're holding, Mr. Carter. That is not a child. That is a weapon." John's grip tightened. "He's just a baby." The hunter's eyes narrowed. "Not for long. His kind grows fast. Soon he will destroy everything you know. Give him to us, and we'll make it painless." John shook his head. "No, I promised." The alien mother weakly lifted her head, her silver eyes burning faintly. "Do not trust them," she rasped. "They killed my people. They will kill him too." The short hunter sneered. "Lies, she's desperate. She knows what the child becomes a danger to every world." The tall one stepped closer, his voice deep and calm, like a snake in tall grass. "Think carefully, Mr. Carter. Are you ready to risk your planet for a creature you don't even know?" John's pulse thundered in his ears. He wanted to scream that he didn't know. that he was afraid, that none of this made sense. But when he looked down at the baby in his arms, the small glowing face, the tiny hands clinging to his shirt, his answer was clear. Yes, John said through clenched teeth. I'll risk it. The tall hunter's eyes went cold. Then you've chosen death. He raised his hand. For a moment, John thought it was a gun butt instead, a strange black rod extended, humming with blue sparks. A weapon unlike anything John had seen. The baby cried again, louder, shaking the whole house. The hunter stumbled as the walls trembled. The floor groaned under John's feet. Then it happened. The baby's eyes flared open, glowing like burning stars. Woo-woo, a wave of invisible force blasted through the room. The hunters were thrown back into the doorway, smashing into broken wood. The scanner shattered into pieces, sparking on the floor. John nearly dropped the child from the shock. His ears rang. His chest burned from the strange energy that rippled through the air. The baby's glow faded slowly, his small body going limp in John's arms. He had used too much strength. The tall hunter groaned, dragging himself to his feet. His coat was torn, his lip bleeding, but his eyes were still sharp. He's stronger than we thought, he muttered. We cannot fail. The short one shouted, Take them. Now. John's panic spiked. He bolted for the back door, kicking it open, the cold night rushing against his face. He didn't look back. He just ran, baby in his arms, shotgun clutched tight, his legs burning with fear. Behind him, voices roared. Boots pounded against wood. The hunters were coming. The alien mother's weak cry echoed from inside. John, his heart split. He had left her behind. For a moment, his steps faltered. Could he go back? Could he save her too? Or would that doom them all? The baby stirred faintly in his arms, glowing weak but warm. On. Tightened his grip and whispered, Hold on. I won't let them take you. The sound of engines roared in the distance. Lights flashed in the sky above. Not just men. Hunters. Something bigger was coming. John's blood turned cold. The night split open with sound. Engines roared above the trees, and the sky flashed with strange lights. John ran into the cold air, the alien baby clutched tight against his chest. His boots pounded the wet ground, his breath burning in his lungs. Behind him, the hunters shouted, their heavy boots smashing through broken wood as they chased. The baby whimpered softly, glowing weak but steady. John whispered between gasps, Hold on, little one, hold on. He cut across the yard toward his old truck. Rusted, dented, barely alive, but it was the only chance. He threw open the door and slid inside, placing the baby gently on the seat beside him. His shaking hands fumbled with the keys. Click, click. The engine coughed but didn't start. John slammed the wheel. Come on. The front door of his house burst wider. The tall hunter stepped out, his black coat flowing in the wind, a glowing weapon sparking in his hand. His partner followed, raising a strange device that pulsed like a beacon. John turned the key again. The truck roared awake, coughing smoke. Relief surged through him. He slammed it into gear, wheels spinning in the mud. The hunters sprinted forward. A blue bolt of energy cracked through the night, smashing into the fence beside the truck. Wood exploded, showering sparks. The baby cried, the glow flaring brighter. John gritted his teeth and shouted, Not tonight. He hit the gas, and the truck lurched forward onto the road. The hunters didn't stop. One raised his arm, speaking into a small black device on his wrist. His voice was sharp and urgent. Target is mobile. Lock in on the child. Above the sky, answered, a massive ship, black as shadow, descended from the clouds. Its underside glowed with shifting patterns of blue, and the air hummed with a low, terrifying vibration. It moved slowly, following John's truck as if the vehicle was nothing more than prey. John's eyes widened in horror. "Oh my God! The babies!" Glow pulsed, reflecting in the windshield. His tiny hand reached toward the sky as if he knew the ship was there. John pressed the gas harder. The truck rattled on the cracked road, bouncing over potholes. His mind raced. Where could he go? Who could he call? No one would believe him. And if they did, they would only take the baby away. The alien mother's weak voice echoed in his memory. "No one's safe, only you." He gripped the wheel tighter. Then he made his choice run until there was nothing left. Behind him, headlights appeared. A black car tore down the road, faster, cleaner, controlled. The hunters. They weren't letting go. John pushed the gas to the floor. The truck screamed in protest, the engine coughing smoke, but it flew down the road faster than it had in years. The baby let out a sharp cry. Suddenly, the radio in the truck sparked to life, though John hadn't touched it. A strange static voice filled the cabin low, humming almost words but not human. John's knuckles turned white. What now? The baby's glow flickered in rhythm with the sound. For a brief second, John realized the baby was speaking through the machine. Not with words, but with energy. A warning. A signal. He couldn't tell. He turned a sharp corner. The black car stayed close, its headlights burning into his rearview mirror. The hunters leaned forward, their faces cold and focused. Above, the ship lowered, blocking the stars. Its engines howled, the vibration shaking the trees. A beam of blue light burst from its belly, sweeping across the road like a searchlight. John shouted, "No, no, no." He swerved hard, barely missing the light. Where it touched, the road cracked, glowing with heat. The baby whimpered, then glowed brighter, as if fighting the light itself. Sparks flew across the truck's dashboard. The wheel jerked in John's hands, but he held tight, teeth clenched. The mother's voice rose weakly from the back seat. He hadn't realized she had dragged herself into the truck before he fled. "John," she cried, coughing, "they will not stop. You must. Go where they cannot follow." "Where?" John shouted over the roar of the engine and the ship. "Tell me where." Her silver eyes glowed faintly, a tear sliding down her. Cheek Mountains, the old caves, they shield. No scan. No light. John nodded sharply. "Then that's where we're going." The hunter's car pulled closer, its black hood almost kissing the back of John's truck. The tall hunter leaned out the window, his weapon glowing, ready to fire. "Duck!" John yelled, slamming his arm across the mother to shield her. A blast of blue energy screamed past, slicing a burning line into the trees. John swerved, the truck groaning, but it stayed on the road. The baby's eyes snapped open, glowing like suns. The air inside the truck thickened, buzzing. The black car suddenly jerked sideways as if struck by an invisible fist, smashing into a ditch with a metallic scream. The old truck roared like a dying beast as it climbed the winding road toward the mountains. The sky burned with strange blue light. The alien ship hovered close, its engines screaming, hunting them like a predator refusing to lose its prey. John's hands gripped the wheels so hard his knuckles turned white. The baby lay bundled in one arm, glowing faint but steady, while the alien mother leaned weakly against the seat. Her breaths shallow. "Almost there," John muttered to himself, eyes fixed on the dark shapes of the caves carved into the mountain. Cliffs. Just a little further, but the ship was faster. It moved above the road, its massive shadow swallowing everything. Then whoom, a beam of light split the ground in front of the truck, burning the asphalt to ashdot. John swerved hard, the truck bouncing violently. Metal screeched, tires skidding. He nearly lost control, but the vehicle stayed alive, just barely. The mother coughed, her silver eyes dim but fierce. "They will block the caves. You cannot drive in." "Then we run," John said through clenched teeth. The ship shifted lower, ready to strike again. The hunter's black car reappeared behind them, its engine howling as it closed the gap. Trapped from above. Trapped from behind. John's chest pounded. He had no more tricks. No more time. He slammed the brakes. The truck screeched to a stop, smoke curling from its tires. The hunter's car swerved, almost smashing into the back. The ship hovered above, its beam glowing brighter. John jumped out, holding the baby close. "Out!" He shouted to the mother. "We finish this here." She stumbled out, weak but standing, her silver hair glowing faintly in the alien light. The baby stirred in John's arms, glowing brighter as if sensing the danger. The hunters stepped from their car, weapons humming with blue sparks. Their eyes locked on the child. "It's over," the tall hunter said, his voice cold as stone. "Give us the child. Spare yourself the pain." John's grip tightened around the baby. "You'll have to go through me," the shorter hunter sneered. "Then you die with them." Above, the ship lowered. Its belly opened wide, revealing rows of weapons glowing with deadly light. The ground shook under its power. The alien mother stepped forward, her body trembling. "John," she whispered, "this is my fight, not yours. Take him and run." John shook his head. "No, you asked me to protect him. I gave you my word. I'm not leaving." The mother's eyes filled with tears. For the first time since she appeared at his door, she smiled. "Then, you are more than human. You are family." The hunters raised their weapons. Blue light flared. But before they could fire, the baby opened his eyes. The glow exploded brighter than the moon, brighter than the ship's weapons. The air shook, heavy with power. Rocks tumbled from the cliffs, the ground cracking under their feet. John shielded his face, the light burning through his eyelids. The hunters screamed as the energy struck them, throwing them back like dolls in a storm. Their weapons shattered, sparking uselessly. The ship above faltered, its weapons dimmed, engines sputtering. The baby's glow surged again, stronger, till the entire sky turned white-blue. For a moment, everything froze, and then the baby's voice touched John's mind. Not words, feelings, warmth, love, trust. Safe John's tears blurred his vision. "I've got you," he whispered. "Always." The energy burst one final time. Hu-Oh-Oh and the hunters vanished in the blast. Their car torn apart, their bodies swallowed by the light. The ship reeled backward, engines screaming as it lost control, spun into the clouds, broken and retreating, until the night sky swallowed it whole. Silence, the glow faded slowly. The baby's eyes closed, his tiny body limp but breathing. John held him close, his heart pounding. The mother collapsed to her knees. She was smiling, but her face was pale, her body trembling. "He is safe because of you." John crouched beside her. "Stay with me. We can make it. We'll find a way." She shook her head gently. "No, my time ends here." Her silver eyes softened as she reached out, her hand brushing the baby's face. "Now, he is yours." Tears stung John's eyes. "Don't leave him. Don't leave me." Her smile was sad, but peaceful. "You are strong enough." Her hand fell. Her body went still. The mountain wind blew softly through the silence. John bowed his head, grief heavy in his chest. But in his arms, the baby stirred. His small fingers clung to John's shirt, glowing faintly as if knowing he was not alone. John stood slowly, the child pressed against his chest. He looked up at the cave's dark, quiet, safe. A new beginning. The night was over. The war, maybe. Not. But for now, the child was his. And John, once just an ordinary man, now carried the future of a world not his own.